All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and call this meeting to order. This is the meeting of the Harrison Nicholas Bourbon Scott Community Early Childhood Council for November 5th, 2021. It's a mouthful, but we got there. So I'm gonna call it to order. We're gonna kick it off by calling for attendance. We all pretty much know each other, but um, if you are able to unmute yourself or put it in the chat, that way we can take attendance and I can submit that to the governor's office for each meeting for every month. So. I guess what I'll do then, since people are shy, what I'll do is I will call on your name, and if I didn't see your name in the chat, you can just say present. That's all. Oh wait, you are putting it in the chat. There you go. Okay. So I have Jessica Jenkins. We have Kate Denniston.
I've never been called shy. I thought you told us to put it in the chat.
Either one. Sometimes when I have it pulled up on my screen, the chat pops up to the side and I can't see it. So I just brought it up to my screen so I can see it. So didn't mean to offend anybody for those who are not shy that I just called shy. We have Amanda Evans.
Also definitely not shy.
Good, glad to hear it.
Good to see you, Amanda.
You too.
We have Danita. And Doris is on here too. But she's busy at the moment. But I'm gonna go ahead and say that she's here. She's listening in. And then, yeah, okay, Jessica. So if also there's a lot of noise over here, if y'all can't hear me, just tell me and I'll mute myself and move somewhere else. So, all right. And then we have Paula Hunter.
Right here.
Here we go. I think that's everybody here. All right. Next on the agenda is the approval of last meeting's minutes. Last meeting was like 2 months ago, and it wasn't an official agenda, so we'll just breeze on past that one. We didn't talk about a whole lot. It was mostly trying to get a feel for what everybody was wanting and where we were as a council. So Nikki just joined us. All right, I'm gonna give us a financial report. I'm typically not the financial minded person. I'm going to try to get our actual money people on here at times so that they can explain a little better than I can, but I'm going to do my best. And if y'all have questions, let me know and then I can figure it out for you. Before I go on though, is anybody here currently serving as the treasurer of this council? No? Okay. I just want to make sure I wasn't stepping on anybody's toes. I was thinking we might could vote on those at some point to solidify offices and stuff like that. Because I'm trying to get us back. I was talking with the governor's office this past week. They were asking, for updates and how we were doing. And so they gave some suggestions on how we can come together better as a council. And so I'll share about that here in a little bit. But that was one of the suggestions, was to get some offices solidified. So if we already had a treasurer, I didn't want to step on their foot. But let me see if I can find the budget real quick. All right. Point is, while looking for it, is that we had money left over from last year. So apparently there was a budget carryover, which meant we didn't spend all of our money from last year, so we brought into this year's money as well. And as of yesterday, I was told that we have about $35,000 combined to spend, and we need to spend that by June 30th of 2022. So that's what we're working with. Here later on, I'm going to share something else. At the Institute, the governor's office was talking about giving us additional funding sometime in December, but I couldn't get a straight answer of how much it was and how actual reality that was, how real it was. So I'm still trying to get a solid answer on that. But once I hear an actual answer. If we are getting more money, I'll let y'all know. But currently, we're operating with about $35,000 to spend before June 30th of 2022.
I probably should know this, but do we have guidelines on what that money is spent on?
We do, and I can try to find the official
Okay.
verbiage on
rush.
it and send it out. I'm sure that the biggest thing is we can't spend it on staff. So, like none of us can get paid for being on here. And there's a little bit of controversy about buying materials and giving it to families. There's some confusion about that, but basically we can buy stuff to give to people as long as we attach like some type of educational presentation or resources with it. So those are the two big.
I'm sorry. My question is, can you partner with others, or does it have to be just a project for this group?
No, yeah. So that was another thing that we talked about this past week. I was going to bring up is how we can partner, because we're allowed to partner with other agencies and organizations and community people. Yeah, and we're able to, as far as I know, that we're also able to take donations in order to supplement the funds that we have. Yeah, and some good questions. Anybody else have any more questions about finances and where we stand? Okay. I didn't pull the budget up. I'm sorry. I'm struggling this morning, y'all. Typically we'd vote to approve it and move on, but I don't have anything to approve. So we'll do that next time.
Actually, I do have a question.
Yeah.
I know that what you mentioned, that there is additional funding, and I think from what I understood, my preschool teachers were actually at the conference as well on Monday and Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
They did not know. I really wish that we had figured out that you guys. I haven't done a lot of the meetings until now because it conflicted with another standing meeting I had, or I would have known that. But anyway, so they acted like it was a pretty easy process, I guess, to apply for, and that they really kind of want to give us the additional funding. So is that something for sure that we're going to do?
Yeah, so thank you. That's a fantastic segue to this next one. Yeah, so I was going to bring up our quarterly report. We're required to do quarterly reports and send it to the governor's office. And so the next one is due on November 15th. And so that's why we had decided to move the meetings to the first Friday. So that way we can all look at the quarterly report and approve it and move on. But what you're saying though, Amanda, they're right. They said that when we submit this quarterly report for November, we have to attach like a short terms goal, and I'm going to pull that up too. And then that's how we get the additional funding. We have to show that we have some type of short term plan on how we would use that money. So let me see if I can pull this up real quick. I'm going to pull up the quarterly report first so everybody can see it. All right. Oh, that's really big. All right, can y'all see this? All right, so this is just the first page of it. This is the money. So these numbers are red just because I haven't changed them to black yet. But this is operating off of our current budget. So this doesn't include the money from last year. This is just this year's budget. But I sent this out if you all wanted to look at this later on. But basically it's saying that we spent $24,000 so far with supplies. And I think that came from the learning kits that we did. And then some of these other costs, administrative and others. I'm digging through receipts to verify what these amounts came from. But I'm pretty sure it's pretty much all related to the learning kits and some of the professional development stuff that we've done. These right here, I haven't filled out because I wanted to get everyone's opinion on it. In each quarterly report, we have to describe how we're doing and how we're working toward our goals. And so I sent out our request for application, our RFA, which had our goals in it. If you guys had a chance to look at that, if not, I can pull that up too. But basically our goals were to provide training for, staff and for families through what was called Super Saturdays. We had some conscious discipline goals for behavior management. We had some other things related to early literacy. And those were the big ones for our goals. So before I started typing all this stuff, I want to pick everybody's brain and see what all you have been doing in your specific counties, or if there's something that's been ongoing that you guys wanted to talk about that we can include in this report. So I'll open up the floor for anybody who wants to talk about that.
As the money being spent on the kits, we were provided the backpacks, and we had given them out during our kindergarten camp in July, and they are always a big hit. And so that's what we have done at Urban Central Elementary. And I think those backpacks were also provided to King Ridge for their kindergarten camp in North Middletown Elementary.
Okay.
We provided them at Nicholas County too for our students, and they are a big hit every year.
And our teachers used them during the camp. They used the supplies that were within the backpack during the camp.
Great. So
For us at Paris, we handed them out. They utilized those and showed them how to use the materials and all that.
okay. So it definitely sounds like these backpacks and learning kits were a big hit and something that we want to continue to do. What all did y'all put in them?
They're already pre-made from, they ordered
from
them
Lakeshore.
from
Are they from
Lakeshore.
Lakeshore? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But we added some things too, right, Danita? So like math manipulate, what do we add? Counters, I think.
If they added something, I don't know. They all came to me as the backpack that had come. So if they added anything I wasn't aware, they may have. I didn't add anything.
Maybe we just talked about that at the one meeting I was able to attend recently, and maybe that ended up not happening. I just remember Renee talking about, that you guys had talked about adding counters, but I actually didn't look in any of it. So I just assumed that happened. But
And I think they had talked about either making the kits, ordering all of the things like stuff like that and making the kits versus buying the backpacks all together. And I guess they just decided to buy the backpacks just all put together. I've used those backpacks. I actually ordered backpacks from School Specialty over the last couple of years and used those. These specifically came from Lakeshore, but it was the same thing. And they're always a hit.
And some magnets, we got some magnets from somewhere, and I gave those out, and my family's like those, putting them on the refrigerators, what your kindergarten needs to know. And I don't remember when we made those up, but I gave those magnets, they were size of a large index card.
Okay, so I can definitely make sure to include this goal. This question number 1 here, describing the progress. It sounds like these backpacks and the kids did a lot toward increasing literacy and family engagement and stuff like that. So that's a real easy one to answer. So that's good. The next one is, how did we integrate our efforts with other organizations in the community? I have my own ideas. Before I share them with you, I wanted to see if y'all had been doing anything with anybody else that you wanted to include in this report. So I was gonna include in this, the different agencies that are represented within this council. We have daycares and libraries. We have a couple of nonprofits. We have UK. So we have all these different community agencies that are represented in our council. And so we're able to pull from those resources from those different agencies. And so I was gonna include that in this one. Number 3 is talking about barriers in addition to COVID and things like that. So in addition to COVID and everything, have you guys experienced any other barriers that you're having to work through? I know for us at Community Action, we've been dealing with staffing turnover. And I've heard, no, I see heads nodding. So yeah, I think we're not alone in that. Some staff turnover, trying to provide some consistency for the kids. And it's difficult to get back out into the community and get that community engagement because people are still either cautious of being around other people, or there's like still restrictions for those things. So that's COVID related. But as my background in disabilities and mental health, we've been working through the social emotional development of the kids. And that's been a struggle because as the kids are starting to come back into the classrooms, we're seeing more and more behaviors and more, kids like just not knowing how to handle stuff. And that's been a real struggle and barrier that we've been trying to get through. Does anybody else have anything else you want to add to that?
We're the same way here, not necessarily within the school system, but with Derby Club, the childcare that's here. I've had 2 positions open, 1 position open for the past 2 months, almost 3 months. And then another position come open because someone left. So it's been really hard to try to find applicants.
Yeah, 100%. It's terrible.
Yes.
It's terrible. I used to enjoy interviews, and I haven't gotten to do any in a while, but I'm glad that I'm not doing any right now because it's just, I'm hearing from other coworkers, the process is brutal. So I'm glad I'm not doing it right now.
I would say that the 2 issues that you mentioned are the biggest issues for us as well. Staff, people coming and going, or because they can make more money working full time at Target right now. I mean, our pay for, especially for classified staff. I mean, some areas we've tried to really increase that, but really for instructional assistants, we haven't. And they, and that combined with the behavioral issues that we're seeing with our, preschool and kindergarten age kids who we are kind of describing as feral children who have never seen the light of day. Some of them, I feel like, for the past couple of years, it's like, they're like, it's not worth it, You can't blame them for, what they're making as classified staff and dealing with, physical aggression and just crazy behaviors. So those 2 things kind of are combined are our biggest barriers this year for sure. For our
that was something that we talked about, that got talked about at the Institute. I'm not sure if your teachers were telling you about it or not. It may have been in breakout rooms that we did. But yeah, we're talking about how, because since the governor's office is there, a lot of people are like, hey, give us more money so that we can, help supplement some of the community daycares and agencies and childcare. Because that was something that got brought up a lot. And of course, they're like, no, we're not going to give you any more money to pay people, but we'll give you money to do stuff to help. But anyway, but yeah, no, I agree. That's definitely a common theme, not just in our counties, but across the state for sure.
Well, and then they want to give you that money to do stuff to help, but then you don't have the staff to be able to do those programs.
Exactly. And that's what people kept saying. Yeah, exactly.
We'd like to do something like that in our after school program around social emotional development, but we can't because we're trying to cover classrooms. I've had to cover classrooms, and we don't have that extra person to be able to do anything.
Right.
Like our district plan was to hire 3 mental health specialists this year, and we have 1 and cannot fill the other 2 positions. So again, we have the money and we have the desire, and they're just not the people to fill those positions. Our 1 that we do have is really struggling with being able to meet the needs of the whole district when, you know, our original plan was having one at each school, and we just can't fill those positions, so.
Does anybody else have anything that they want to add to what we've been talking about to include in the report?
The only other thing with barriers and stuff, we're in a school system, we're not visitors aren't allowed. That is slowly being lifted and refined, probably on a daily basis. And so our parents can't come in to get the kiddos from their classrooms. So that's another thing. We have to have a staff to take our kids up front. So those parents are losing that connection with their child's classroom teacher. Not necessarily with the center, because they are seeing someone that's with the center when they take their child up front to hand them off, but they can't see their classroom and see their classroom teacher to see how they are doing in the classroom. So that's been another struggle with us. And if we're in a school system, then our kids are supposed to have their mask on. It's not like other child cares where they can choose to wear them or not wear them. If our county is in red, then our school is masked. So then our kids have to be masked since we're in the school system. So that's a struggle too.
It just said added responsibility.
Yeah.
To teachers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that final question was talking about these barriers that we've identified, what needs to change, short of eradicating COVID-19 and going back to normal, and giving us money, permission to use money for staff. I think those are the two biggest things, but I can't include those on the report because they won't let me. So I was on that question, I was simply going to include strategies such as increase community presence and engagement, to get resources and manpower from outside in areas where possible. Do any of y'all have anything else that you want to add to ways that we can engage those barriers that we just talked about? All right then. Well, in that case, what we'll do is I was taking notes, and I will type it all out and send it to everybody. So that way, before I send it in, you can look at it. And if I don't hear anything back from you, I'm going to count that as an approval for you to as a vote. So I'll send that out today. And by, let's say, Tuesday, if we haven't heard anything back, I'm going to send it over to Doris to sign as co-chair. Then we'll send that to the governor's office, along with the short goals that are attached, which I'll pull up real quick just so that y'all can look at it. All right, share screen. Where is it at? I got so many tabs pulled up. Here we go. All right, let me see if I can rotate this. All right, so this is the short-term goals worksheet that we have to turn into with the quarterly report to get that additional funding and that they're going to give us in December. And I just added these because I had to write something down. So if we want to change these or edit, that's totally fine. I just wrote something down that way I could show them that we had something. But I wrote down 2 goals for us because a lot of our goals included professional development, and with a lot of talk about turnover because teachers are getting frustrated with the level of difficulty with their kids for the amount of pay. How can we help our teachers and childcare providers with help dealing with those challenging behaviors? And so there's a goal related to that. And so I wrote provide professional development to Centers for Behavioral Development. We'll work together on this. It's going to be monitored through completion of courses and training materials through conscious discipline. I think we have conscious discipline in one of our goals as well. So they've recently uploaded all of their training videos and course materials online. And so I recently just bought this for my team, and it was like 750 user accounts, and it was like a little over $1,000. And you got 750 accounts that 750 people can use for an entire year. And they have all the access to conscious discipline trainings and materials and stuff like that to help give them directions and guidance and how to work with challenging behaviors related to conscious discipline, how they can do it. And for the date, the deadline, I said June 30th because that was our deadline for the spending. So before I sent that in, I wanted to pick your brains about that, see if anybody didn't want to include that, or if you had questions, or if you wanted to add something else to this first goal. And the idea behind this was that if you guys do approve this, when we get that money in December, then we could talk about who you want to get access. And then that way we can get the numbers tallied up and get the appropriate amount of e-courses to distribute out.
I'm really interested in that conscious discipline for my staff. I would love it if we could get that.
Okay. Is anyone not so keen on including this in one of our goals for the additional funding?
I've heard nothing but rave reviews about it, so I'm excited for us to have access. Would our kindergarten teachers be able to be included in those numbers, or just?
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I'll double check. I don't see why not. I mean, because we'd be providing it to the community.
Okay.
And so teachers would be, I would think would be included in that number.
Okay, we have new teachers and they just need a lot of.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
All right, then. Well, we'll have to take an official vote on this one. So all in favor, you can either raise your hand or say aye or comment in the chat that you're in favor. So all in favor of including conscious discipline? Aye. Great. Any opposed? The yeses have it. Very cool. I always like saying that, makes me feel official. The yeses have it. All right, and then the second one, I imagine we'll probably need to talk a little bit more about. This is Dolly Parton Imagination Library. So hold on, I'm going to share something else real quick with y'all. Let me see if I can pull this up. So while we were there, the Dolly Parton Imagination Library came and did a presentation, and they were telling us that the state of Kentucky has actually passed this legislation where they're going to match all of the invoices for Dolly Parton to make it a statewide program, which is really cool because Dolly Parton Library is expensive. It's great. It's a fantastic thing, but it can be expensive. And so right now, Kentucky is matching invoices 50%. So like for current people who are already doing this, if your bill is $5,000, then Kentucky's paying $2,500 of that. And so we talked a little bit about this. So I'm going to share this. I think I included this in the email too, but this is specifically for Kentucky. So right now, only 15% of kids are enrolled in the state. And so that's why the legislation was a really big push to make this a statewide program, and they're doing this match cost incentive. I included this right here. Let me see if I can rotate. So these are just notes that I put up here because other people are talking about getting community partners to help with the funding. So I was just writing notes down. But these counties that are green already have 100% coverage. Yellow, there's a little bit, and then blue, there's none. So you can see in ours, Harrison, Nicholas, Scott, and Bourbon, Bourbon's only got partial, and I think that's the school district. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody told me that it was just a couple of schools that are doing the library. Other than that, there's not a formal operation of it going on. And so I thought this would be something that we could talk about. I met with the regional directors of the Imagination Library, and they agreed to meet with us at some point. They haven't gotten back to me with a date yet, but they would talk with us about the costs of it, the logistics of how we would do it, and whatnot. And so the idea behind it is they said that we can start small too, so we wouldn't have to start with every single kid in all the counties all at once. We could pick a couple of zip codes out of each county and begin there, and work our way up to it. But that'd be something they would talk with us about in the meeting. And so I wanted to make you guys aware of that, so that when they do get back to me with a date, I can include you all on it if you want to join, and that way you can participate and get some more information about it for the next meeting. So going back to the short-term goal for the December funding, I included it in here just because we have some early literacy goals in our application, and so this would be a great way to move toward it. I jumped the gun a little bit, I think, by putting a February 28th deadline. I think if we approve this, if you are good with it, we might move that to June 30th as well. Just because it can take some time, I think, to get that funding and then jump in on board with it if we like it. So at this point, I'm going to stop talking and you guys, chime in with your thoughts, questions, or concerns about this one.
Hey, Kay, before you jump off, do you know who is that's operating this, or anybody else from Bourbon County and Paris?
I sure don't. The regional guy that I talked to, all he said was he thinks there's a couple of schools in the Bourbon County that are doing it, but he didn't know what schools they were.
It could be us. We had the Striving Readers federal grant, and that was part of that. We had it for 3 years, and we did do Imagination Library and pay for that with those grant funds, but we haven't had that for the past 2 years, but we did do it in the past through the Striving Readers grant.
That would make sense, Amanda.
Yeah.
I was gonna guess Paris, but I didn't realize it'd been 2 years, Amanda.
I'm gonna be honest, we did have trouble with the program, and I don't necessarily think it was them. We had middlemen supposed to be sending in the registrations and doing all of that for us that we had to work with as part of the grant, and there were some issues with that. So hopefully, I don't know who is going to be, if we're going to be facilitating sending those registrations in or what, but, and then we had some trouble with kids who were registered just not getting books for months. So hopefully we won't, those have been addressed outside of.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, we had some.
Has the Imagination Library just revamped how they're doing things? Because my kids are 19 and 15, and I signed them up to get this when they were, before they turned 5, and they got books every month, and we were living in Bourbon County at that time. So have they revamped their program? Does anyone know?
They do come to the home, right, Danita?
Yeah, they came in the mail.
That's what I thought. Well,
I don't know. All I know is there were some issues with some families who didn't get, they got one book, and then it was like months later and they got their other book. We never could really figure out why. It wasn't just one family, it was multiple families. I don't know.
Ooh, you in so much trouble.
You need to know whether it's, you know, the mail system or whether the people move. Kids today move so much. I am sorry to go because I think this is a really good meeting, but I do have obligations to UK. Sorry. I wanted to learn about the literacy, but
It's all right. It's all right, Kate. Like I said, I'm recording this and then I'll send it out.
thank you.
That way everybody can watch it and stuff. And then, like I said, when I hear back from the library, when they want to meet and give us information, I'm gonna send that invite to everyone so that if anybody can hop on, they can on that one too.
From the library, you mean the Dolly Parton
All right.
Literacy
Yeah,
Library?
sorry,
Okay.
yes,
Okay,
thank you.
I thought you were talking about our public library. And I'm
No,
going,
yeah, the Dolly's library.
thank you, guys.
Yeah, I definitely like to know more because I would share this with our Born Learning Academy.
All right. So is, does anybody not feel comfortable including this in one of our goals with that additional funding? Like I said, we wouldn't have to do it all at once. We could pick zip codes and start that way if that would be more comfortable for people. But if there's anyone who has another idea of what we can include on a short-term goal, I'm open to it for us to talk about. I want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to voice their opinion. Okay, all right then. So we'll do an official vote. All in favor, say aye, thumbs up, chat. Cool. All right. Yeses have it. Sweet. All right. So then I will finish out all of this quarterly report and the goals, and I'll send it for everyone to look at. And like I said, if by Wednesday we don't hear anything, I'm going to take that as everybody was in agreement with it, and then I'll send that on to the governor's office. See, we're already past 10, so I want to be respectful of everybody's time. I took notes on the Institute, and I included that in the email. So you guys can go back and look at it, and if you have questions about it, then you can reach out to me. But basically, the whole thing of it was, how can we be better about engaging the community and using our funds effectively and efficiently. So in addition to the backpacks and these conscious discipline accounts and maybe the Dolly Parton Library, how else are we, how can we go to places where families may not know about us or may not be aware of what the resources available to them in the counties. And so that's something that we can probably start thinking about in order to, as we move forward anyway, because I mean, it's December now, so everybody's getting to the holidays, so things get pretty crazy around these times. So I think it might be a little bit unrealistic to try to start this big, brand new initiative at this point. So I think maybe January, our January meeting, we can maybe come with some solid ideas about what we can do for the next 6 months from January to June to finish out the grant period. Let's see. Like I said, that was the biggest thing. I included the updates on the email and just some questions and thoughts that I jotted down. So if y'all are reading over it and you're like, what does that even mean? Just reach out to me. That way I'm happy to talk with you about it more. And because sometimes my thoughts don't make sense to other people as I'm writing. But the Institute was really good. Next year, I think we definitely all should go together. It was fun. It was in the Galt House and that was super fancy. I didn't stay there, but I wish I did. But it was a really good time. And they're talking about next year doing it in person again. They had the Lieutenant Governor come speak. They had the Commissioner of Education there. There was something else I was going to tell y'all before we got off. So in addition to the Dolly Parton Library, that was a big announcement and a big deal. KET has launched a new website and it's called Let's Learn Kentucky, letslearnkentucky.org. And it has all sorts of different resources for families. So school readiness resources, disability resources, health resources, physical resources, activities that they can do to promote school readiness at home, because we recognize that parents are the first teachers of their kids. And so this website is super cool. I think you guys should definitely check it out. and share it with your staff and your families. It's really cool. It's called letslearnkentucky.org. And they just launched it this week, I think. So it's brand spanking new, super cool. So there's that one. Family Engagement Week is next week for the state of Kentucky. So they're doing all sorts of different events. So you can look up the Pritchard Committee, or the Kentucky Collaboration for Families, I think is what it's called. And it'll have a list of events and things on how you can be involved to get your families involved, those types of things. So those are two big resources that they announced. I met with Doris yesterday, and she brought up some good points about some things that we can maybe start thinking about. So we'll still meet in December, but I don't anticipate that being having a whole lot of action items that we would need to vote on. But I think it'd be really cool if we started brainstorming these annual events that happen in our communities every year. So like parades or festivals or church events, school fairs, fall festivals, those things. And then maybe we can look at those and talk about where we can participate in those events, a couple of them maybe, and get our name out there and get resources out to families in the communities. Just something to be thinking about for the next couple months, so that we can kick 2022 off with a bang. All right, it's 10:12, so I'm trying to hurry y'all. I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna open the floor. Does anybody have anything that they want to bring up or mention or talk about, and with the entire council?
Am I the only one that has meetings every other week on my calendar? I guess from your meeting invite.
Oh,
Like-
so what I'll do, I'll delete all those. I thought I had. I'm sorry.
No, it's
I'll-
okay. I thought that was a lot, but
No, I was thinking we would do every first Friday of every month for the meetings. That way, when it comes to the quarterly reports, we can all talk about the quarterly report before we send it in. And then I was also tossing around the idea that I was going to bring forward to y'all about for the next meetings, for the next quarterly report, we could meet in person to talk about it. And then we could rotate the counties that we meet in. And that way we only have to meet in person once a quarter. And we can actually see each other and talk and have some hands-on activities. Just out of curiosity, is that something that you guys would be interested in?
Yeah.
Sweet. Cool.
I noticed nobody from Scott County's on here, and they had a pretty active council, right when they combined with us pre-COVID. So I don't know if anybody's talked to them, or have you talked to anybody from over there?
I'm in the process of reaching out to people to see who's still interested, because of where there was so much confusion and transitions and stuff the past 6 months. I got some guidance from the governor's office about rebuilding the council, and how we who are here can facilitate that. So, and part of that was doing cold calls basically to people who are on our list, and seeing if they're still interested in everything. So it's definitely something that I'm trying to get to. If you guys happen to reach out to them or bump into someone, if you want to talk to them, go for it. I think it's a whole team process to make sure that we can get this back to where it used to be, and where we want it to be. But yeah, no, I noticed that too, Danita.
And I think it was Doris, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was that Scott County was just getting involved with us prior to COVID. Like 6 months or something they were in when they joined us. So
yeah, I think you're right. I don't know where Doris is, but I think because we were talking about alternating meeting in Scott, Scott and Bourbon, and it was just us in Scott County, and then I guess Harrison County is combined with us now too. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's Harrison
and Nicholas
Scott.
came later. Yeah.
But yeah, they had a big council. I mean, I remember from back again, before COVID, when we were meeting.
Jessica was saying that she's happy to reach out to the centers since she works with them all. Is there a specific email talking points you'd like us to share? I don't have anything specific. If you guys just, if you're talking with someone about the council, just make it known that we're a community council for the 4 counties. And our purpose and our goal is to increase the quality of childcare, in those 4 counties, whatever that may look like. But the goal is to do it through the community and empower the community to do that. And then, yeah, if you want, you can send them here. I'll type. I know I've been emailing y'all, but I'll type in my email address. If you are talking to someone, they want more information, I'm happy to do that. And then I'll put in my desk phone too. But yeah, no, I'm super excited. I feel very optimistic about the next few months course of the council and us getting back on track. And so if you guys think of something and you want to add it, include it, you have suggestions or concerns, happy to hear them. Just let me know. All right. Well, at this point, if no one has anything else to say, does anybody want a motion for us to close?
Hello.
All right, amend the motion. So we have a second. All right, there it is. All right, y'all. Well, have a good day. If I don't hear from y'all before then, I'll see you next month.
Bye, thank you.